Good afternoon. Let me start the session formally by introducing myself. My name is Chris Chan. I'm the Deputy University Librarian here at HKBU Library. And it's a real pleasure to welcome you to your studies at HKBU. I always say it's my favorite time of the year to welcome the new students. Of course, it was even better a few years ago when we could see you in person, but seeing you online is good too. And in some ways it's more efficient, I guess. Joining me, you can see the other very attractive person in the Zoom camera there is my colleague Maggie Wong. She's one of our information services librarians. So we're gonna kind of work in tandem. I'm gonna do most, if not all, of the talking, unfortunately. And Maggie will be helping answering questions in the box as you see there. And also keep an eye on your chat because she will be posting links and things in there for the activities, for attendance, and for things like that. So let's get right into our presentation. Now, we designed this session with a few things in mind. We know that as new students, this will probably be the biggest library that you've ever used before, as if you're fresh to university. And we know that a university library can be a little bit intimidating, right? You know, your school libraries that you've used before, they're generally one room or one floor. We have a huge library building. We have some branch libraries. And we also want to make sure that you know what an academic library is and what it's about. So we'll spend the first 10 minutes or so just kind of exploring what you think about libraries and conveying to you what we think about libraries and how the library, or what role, I should say, the library will play in your studies at university. So in a nutshell, oops, I'm zooming all over the place here. We'll talk about the modern academic library. So that'll be a general discussion, but then we'll zoom in more specifically on how the library will benefit you in your studies at HKBU. As I mentioned during the pre-show, but since we have more people in the room now, do feel free to ask a question at any time. There is a Q&A box where you can put your questions in. And we will answer them as we go along. And as I mentioned, we'll spare some time at the end to answer your questions too. So let's start. The modern academic library. This is going to be our icebreaker exercise, actually, because we want to see what comes to your mind, because everyone here, I'm sure, has used a library. Everyone knows what a library is. But what comes to your mind? What feelings, what concepts, what ideas do you associate with libraries? It says university library here, but we can talk about libraries more generally. So to get your input, we're going to use a tool called Mentimeter. You might have used something similar at school or in your previous studies. So with your browser or with your mobile phone, if you have that handy, you can either scan this QR code, or Maggie has already popped into the chat box the necessary link and the code, which is 65761835. So if you're on a PC, you can open that separately. And by the way, if it's not convenient for you to do this, if you're on a mobile phone or something, don't worry too much. This part of the presentation is not graded or anything like that. And once you get into Mentimeter, you should be able to see a space. Well, actually, let me test it as well with my phone. It's a space for you to enter 2 words. So in response to that question, what comes to your mind when you think of a library? Put the first 2 words that come to your mind. Don't think about it too hard. We want your genuine initial reaction. When I say library, you think what? And just type the first 2 things. I know it's working because we already have 50 responses. That's great. Everyone is very quick today. I'm still going to scan the QR code just to make sure it's working. There we go. Yes, it is working. Okay. So how many responses do we have now? 123, that's great. I'm gonna give you, not 2 minutes, that's, that's too long. I always forget my keyboard shortcuts. Let's give you 10 more seconds, 10 more seconds if you've not quite got your answers in yet. And then we'll have a see what answers you have. Now, to look at your answers, well, not me, but Mentimeter is going to form your answers into a word cloud. So let's see. Whoa, that's you came up with a lot of words here. They're so, I've never seen it so small before. I'm having to like staring. But as usual, now I've done this icebreaker many times. And always the number one answer you can see in the middle there is books. Book is the same thing, which is, but there are other words here too: knowledge, learning, information, and this is great. Now, the one issue I have with books as an answer is that, yes, we do have a lot of books, but one fact I love to share, especially with our new students, is that our library actually spends only about 10% of our budget on physical books. We spend most of our money, about 90%, of our materials budget on electronic resources. So modern academic libraries are now much more about e-resources, about ebooks, e-journals, which we'll talk about a little bit, and databases, electronic databases where you can get information that is not freely available. Because I know a lot of students come in to university thinking, just look that up on Google. Google's fine. Google's great. I use Google every day to look up facts. But for academic research, you really do need to be making good use of the library's e-resources. Great. I think we have one more icebreaker question here. You can just go ahead and answer this one. It's a little bit of a opinion survey. Maybe it's for our research purposes. So as a new student, how do you plan to use the university library? And you can go ahead and answer that. Yep, it should have changed on your device. And this is not a test. I forget how many options you can choose. Maggie, how many are you? I should look at the code too. Multiple, good. Just get my QR code as well. Oh, you can choose up to 3 options. So choose up to 3. You don't have to choose 3. You can choose 1, 2, 3. But from our options, what do you think? Oh, not 1 minute. Why do I keep doing that? Cancel 9. Nope. Okay, 10 seconds. Great, Mentimeter is working real well today. And from those options, great to see, kind of an equal split between digital information and finding physical books, a place for quiet study. Libraries are super useful for that. Place to study with your friends, to use computers and printers too. One thing, Maggie, I'm a little bit upset about, as you can probably tell. Only 13 of you plan to ask for help from librarians. And that's understandable, because certainly at secondary school, that's something you'd rarely do, is to go and ask your school. Well, you should have. School librarians are very helpful as well. I used to be a school librarian years ago. But at an academic library, one very useful service is that you can come and get help from librarians. And we'll talk a little bit about what the qualifications of librarians are in a second. So if you have a research question, if you have trouble using our e-resources, because they can be quite tricky if it's the first time you're using them, remember you can always come and get help from the library. Okay, we've done that. Now the important thing is attendance. So we're going to pause here for a couple minutes, because this will fulfill your UOW3 requirement. All you have to do, scan this QR code, and Maggie will be putting a link into the chat too. And all you have to do is log in to the form. So you will see a form where you just log in with your SSO ID. So the same thing that you use for your student email, for everything else, just log in there and you will be able to register your attendance. In fact, I'm going to click on the link that Maggie has just shared, just so I'm going to register my own attendance at this session. It may be a little bit slow because I think a lot of people are trying to take their attendance at once, but it will come through. And so you just click login, go ahead and log in with your SSO ID. And that's it. You don't need to put the title. You can just click submit. Although if you want to make super sure, you can put UOW3, but again, don't need to. Just click on submit, and then your attendance will be recorded. I see Wang Qiuyu saying that, sorry for being late. No worries, you've come just in time to take your attendance. Oh, I see another question there about people failing to log in. No, you don't use BU Mobile. You can simply use the link that we've provided. Any browser will work. And if you're not able to do it immediately, because a lot of people are doing it at the same time, don't worry about it. You can do it at any time later. So if you're not able to get in straight away, no worries. If you can log in anytime today, you should be fine. So we'll give you a reminder about that later, Maggie. Just remind me at the end just to share the link again. So again, if you can't log in right now, don't worry about it. If you can use that link to log in basically anytime today, it will be fine for recording your attendance, but the system is a wee bit overloaded. Yeah, the browser's lagging a lot. Actually, I know that tends to happen. So Yuyam, yeah, if you can't submit the form now, don't worry about it. You can submit it, try a bit later because there's lots of sessions going on. So we'll remind you again at the end, but don't worry about it if it doesn't go through straight away. Okay, enough of this logistical stuff. Let's go through and talk about librarians again. So I mentioned we would talk about librarians in a bit more detail. So a lot of you, very few of you, I should say, said that you would come to ask librarians for help, but we do encourage you to do so because we do, as you can see here, provide access to trustworthy information. We also listen to your needs in a way that Google will not do because, you know, Google is just a browser. We are flesh and blood human beings that will help you out with things. And we also help with evaluating information because these days your problem is not going to be finding information. You know, when I was at university some time ago, you know, we didn't have so much online resources, so finding anything was a challenge. But for you as a university student today in 2021, your challenge will be there's too much information. Which information is reliable, authoritative? What should I use in my assignments? And your librarians will help you with this. And we do have that expertise, right? So we are all university graduates. We also need to have a master's degree in something called library and information science. So we have at least one master's degree. Some colleagues have two. So you can trust in our expertise. I see questions in the chat about the workshop title. You can just leave that blank, actually, because we will just take the date and the time, and we know that it will be for this workshop. But if you do want to put UOW3 in, you can see my attendance has eventually been recorded. And when you get that, you can just close that and not worry about it ever again. Okay. A few words about Google. Now, I said before, you know, librarians, we're not crazy. We're not saying never use Google. That would be a crazy thing to say. But don't rely on Google, right? I love this quote from Neil Gaiman. He's a children's author, but Google can bring you back 100,000 answers, but a librarian can bring you back the right one. And that's that point again about librarians being able to guide you through this huge morass of information that you need to navigate as a university student. So we can help you, you know, exclude those sources that are maybe not so reliable. You know, misinformation and disinformation are an increasingly serious problem in the modern sort of social media age we're living in. And there's a lot of obsolete information out there as well. So quickly getting to relevant information. That's what librarians can help you to do. And you'll soon find as you start doing assignments that being efficient in your research, no matter what discipline you're in, whether you're, well, I know most of you here are in the Faculty of Arts and AVA. And by the way, visual arts students as well, you may think, research, I'm going to be some sort of practitioner. I'm going to do painting or glass making or whatever. You guys need to do research as well. And the visual arts professors make a big point of that. In fact, they usually invite us to do some workshops specifically for visual arts students. So don't think that this doesn't apply to you. But yeah, in summary, good quality information. That's what you will find at the library, and that's what librarians will help you to unearth. Here are some very well doctored pictures of myself and Maggie. Yeah, we're here for you. These are just the librarians that teach in the UOW sessions. We actually have, I can't even remember off the top of my head, at least 13, 12. We have lots of librarians at the library, as well as many, many support staff. So you can approach anyone that you see at any time and ask them for help at the service counters, at the desks, which we'll talk about later. Seating has, the same question about the workshop title. You can leave that blank. No need to put anything in the workshop title. You can just click submit and we'll match up the date and time. Don't need to worry about writing anything in that space. Okay, now libraries themselves. Talked about librarians, the people. Libraries themselves are places where you can get that support from us, the physical location, although we're available online as well. But the facilities and spaces, we try and tailor them to meet your needs. And when we watch some videos later and look at some photos, you'll see the types of learning spaces, because we know, especially for Hong Kong students, I think some of you will be living in the dorms on campus, but your rooms are small. There's not a lot of space. So coming to the library where there's nice spaces and a variety of spaces, both silent spaces and collaborative spaces, that's another big thing. And again, this point about high quality resources is very important in my opinion. So we've talked libraries in general. I'm sure you're more interested, I think, to hear about HKBU Library, which will be your library for the next 2 years, 4 years, depending on your program, hopefully 4 years. We want you to be here with us for a long time. This is a picture again of the exterior of Ao Shu Hong Memorial Library, the main library. So let's quickly look at our resources. Again, a focus on EResources. There are those, we have almost 400 databases now, 1.2 million physical books and 1.4 million ebooks. So we actually have more ebooks than physical books at this point. Now, your first question is, well, how do I search through all of these things? How do I find what I need for my assignments? And our answer to you is OneSearch. So you can think of, this is not a perfect analogy, but you can think of OneSearch as a bit like the library's version of Google. So it's a single search box that allows you to search through most of what we have and get to it quickly. The difference is this is all high quality paid stuff. So let's watch this brief video about using OneSearch.
OneSearch is the library's main search engine. You can find it front and center on the library homepage. It's a good place to begin your research, as it includes most of the library's print and electronic resources. Get started with a few simple keywords relating to your topic. We recommend that you log into OneSearch using your HKBU account. You will then be able to access more options, like the ability to save searches. From the results list, use limiters to focus on specific resource types. Here's an encyclopedia. These are great for getting started with an unfamiliar topic. We can see that the library has access to both the print and the online version. Let's look at the ebook. In this case, it's an exact replica of the printed version. You can download the entire book or parts of it in PDF format. Apart from books, you can use OneSearch to find journal articles, multimedia materials, and much more. For precision searching, try the advanced search options. If you have questions or run into any problems, our librarians will be happy to help.
Sorry, need to unmute myself. There again is the key theme. One of the key themes of this afternoon session is that if you need help, come and ask. Because OneSearch, we try and keep it simple, like Google, but it has a lot of features and a lot of things you can play around with, and do play around with those features. And if you need help, let us know. By the way, I should have mentioned at the beginning, if the video is a bit, not coming through very well for you, if you have any connection issues, don't worry. We are recording this session, and we will make the recording available to you if you need to go back and if you want to view the video again, if it didn't come through too clearly. Let's talk about, or let's explore a little bit more these e-resources. Good point to note, in this day and age when sometimes, you can't always come to campus, all of our e-resources can be accessed off campus. And all you need to do to access our e-resources is use that same username and password that you use for everything else at university. So just go to the library website, search on OneSearch. When you click on a link, you might be asked to log in. And if you are, just use your SSO ID and you will get through. So we have so many different types of e-resources, e-books, and also reference titles. So things like dictionaries and encyclopedias, which are just great, especially for undergraduate students. Online newspapers. So I'm sure you're familiar, well, many of you will be familiar with Wise News, which is now called, they changed their name, by the way. They're now called Wisers One. We have access to that as well. So for newspapers, you can get those. Online journal articles. Journals you probably won't use too much in your first year, but certainly as you work your way up, and certainly when you do your honors project in year 4, most of you will be making use of journal articles, and you'll learn more about journal articles in your first year study. We won't go into too much detail now, but also multimedia materials, plenty of scholarly videos and other types of multimedia items that you can view online. Now, we only have an hour-long session here, so we're not going to be able to go through every single thing here. So we do want to draw your attention to our CCL credit-bearing online library survival skills series, which are happening in September and October. Maggie has helpfully put the link in the chat, which I'm going to click on. Thanks, Maggie. And you can see here lots of different topics. In fact, I should say that there is one face-to-face event about OneSearch. OneSearch is so important. We want people to know about that. And there are lots of other ones here too, using Chinese databases, call numbers, finding resources beyond HKBU library, a whole myriad of things there. So you will be able to sign up for those if you're interested. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Next, subject guides. So the library has so much, 395 databases, millions and millions of ebooks. It can be really difficult, we understand, for new students coming from secondary school, coming from earlier levels of education, to get to grips with that. And the library homepage can be really intimidating, just seeing all of these links, all of these options, where to start. So what we've tried to do, what all the librarians have done, is prepare these subject guides to help you find the resources for your specific discipline. So here's the link to the subject guides. I know there are many AVA students, so maybe I'll use that as an example. So there's a subject guide for essentially every subject that is taught at the university. So there are lots of guides, and the one at the bottom, it's only bottom because of the alphabetical order. Visual arts subject guide here. So first you can see most important information, who is the librarian responsible for visual arts, and that's our colleague Lolita. So you can contact her if you have questions about the resources here. But it points out, what are the key resources for visual arts students, which is going to be different, compared to a chemistry student, right? So under, where's a good example? This is a great example, images. So it's a heads up to the visual arts students. ArtStore is like the most important database, in my opinion, for visual arts students, because it is this amazing repository of artwork, very high quality. And you can see here 2.5 million images and reasons why ArtStore is better than Google Images. So, the subject guides help direct you to the most important resources for your discipline, for your subject. So make sure, I'll show you one more time where to find this list. It's just on the home page, and the third tab here. Ooh, my mouse does a funny thing if I shake it. Research guides, and then the button here, subject guides, and you'll get that lovely list. There's one for English and Chinese literature, all of that stuff. You saw in that video, the first video, about ebooks. Ebooks are so important that we have a special video just about ebooks. So let's have a quick look at this one.
If you can't make it to the library in person, it can be helpful to limit your search to our ebook collection. OneSearch does not obviously distinguish between ebooks and print books. Both formats are simply labeled as book. To show only ebooks, check the availability option, full text online, and choose the resource type, books. Then click Apply Filters. Follow the online access link to start reading. If you have any questions about using our ebooks, feel free to ask a librarian.
Very quick video there. One thing I'll note about ebooks, sometimes you can just download the whole book as a PDF, but sometimes you can only download 20 pages or 40 pages at a time. And unfortunately, there's no way for us to control that. It depends on the license that has been given to us by the publisher. But like it says in the video, if you have any questions or problems accessing an ebook, just let us know. Oh, one other thing about ebooks too, sometimes the license only allows one person at the university at a time to look at the ebook. So sometimes you'll get a message saying, oh, this book is in use, and all you have to do there is kind of wait an hour or so until the first person finishes using it, and then you can usually access it, no problem. So our focus up until this point has been on our resources here at HKBU Library, but in your studies, again, especially for your honors project, you might find that even our huge collection is not enough to satisfy your needs. But luckily in libraries, I guess, not just in Hong Kong, we have excellent partnerships with the other university libraries in Hong Kong, and also university and other types of libraries overseas. And that results in these two services. Again, we're going to watch some brief videos introducing them. The first one, very useful, very popular service, is Hong Kong Academic Library Link, Hong Kong All. So let's watch the introduction to that.
What to do when you need a print book that the library doesn't have in its collections? Check Hong Kong All to see if it's available for request from another library. Since Hong Kong All is built into OneSearch, one click is all it takes. From the OneSearch record, we can see that this book is currently available at one of our partners, CityU Library. To make a request, you need to be signed in. You'll then see the request button. You can choose one of two pickup locations: the main library, shown here under its official name of the Ao Siu Hong Memorial Library, or the Shet Mong Campus Library. That's it. The request has been placed, and you will receive an email notification when it's ready to pick up. Ask a librarian if you need help placing a Hong Kong All request.
unmute myself again. Hong Kong All, I keep forgetting, is a service we're very proud of. It's one that people are often surprised by, that you can borrow a book from the other university libraries. It will be delivered here for you to pick up. And I don't think it was mentioned in the video, but this is an entirely free service. So there's no payment or anything. Just request those books that you need, and whether they're in Hong Kong U, CUHK, Lingnan, we will bring them here for you to check out. The other service, I don't want to preempt anything. You probably won't use this service in the first year of study as a year one undergraduate, but later on, again, for the honors project, when you're doing some more heavy duty research, you might need to use something called Interlibrary Loan, which is where we can go and get other things, not just from Hong Kong libraries, but from libraries overseas. And this brief video is just an advert for it. Every time I should just stop muting myself because I keep forgetting. So sorry, let me go back. So like Hong Kong All, Interlibrary Loan is integrated into OneSearch. So we try to make OneSearch the one-stop platform for you to make all of your requests. Again, you probably won't need to use it in year one, but we like to introduce it because it is a very useful service. And like Hong Kong All, it's completely free of charge. And to learn more, Maggie has popped the links into the chat so you can find out more about those services. One thing you probably will be using, I think, as a year one student, are our course readings. So what are course readings? Your professors will often reserve particular materials for their courses, right? If you're taking an introductory course to sociology of education or whatever it is, they will put certain things on reserve. Now for the electronic things, that's easy. They'll just be in the course readings list. And by the way, the list will appear in the Moodle course site as well. You can just download those after logging in. But sometimes there are textbooks and things that are only physically available as hard copies. So for those, they will be kept at the user services counter near the main entrance of the library. And later on, we'll show you a video actually showing the location of that. One side note is that on the library website, you may have noticed the fourth tab there is the course readings tab. So you can search for your course readings there. So for example, do we have any, I probably shouldn't do these live searches, no VA courses there. Any English courses? No, anyway, let's just use this education studies course as an example. So you'll see that the lecturer has put a lot of online materials there, so you can just access those directly. But if any of those were printed books, you could get them from level 3, the user services counter at the main library. Okay. Screenshots for your reference. Now you might say, well, where is the user services counter? Where is level 3? Where is the main library? Here's a video that will answer all of those questions. And also, more importantly, talk to you about how to get help. And you may notice a familiar face, or actually two familiar faces. People, they're not going to believe that we have so many librarians. They'll probably think we're the only two, given the evidence of these videos. So the key point there, I'm not muted, good, is that we're available in person and online as well. So however you're comfortable in getting help, come and find us wherever you are, really. Okay. So we saw a brief glimpse of the library's physical facilities there. Let's expand upon those points. We do actually have 3 libraries, but to be honest, if you're Faculty of Arts and AVA students, the main library will be your kind of hub for using the library. We also have a Chinese medicine library and a Shetland campus library out where the College of International Education is. But you can enter these libraries. You don't have to be a Chinese medicine student to enter the School of Chinese Medicine. So if it's more convenient for you, you can still use those libraries. Oh, one thing I'm very excited to mention here, levels 2 and 3 of the main library, they are the academic commons. And that area is for collaborative study, so you don't have to be silent in the academic commons. There are group study rooms, there's furniture that you can move around. If I zoom in on that picture, that's the academic commons there. And even more exciting, that space will open 24 hours a day, starting from the 6th of September, which is a Monday, I believe. So when classes start, basically, that area of the main library will never close. So day and night you can come if you need a study space, if you need a collaboration space, you can come to the main library. So again, to make the point about the differences in quiet zones, collaborative zones, pretty easy to remember. The upper levels of the library, like this area here, those are traditional silent spaces, because silent study is still sometimes very important. But the academic commons, that is where you can not shout and scream or go crazy or have parties, but you can discuss, you can have a good scholarly conversation with your colleagues and other folks. We won't go through all the details, but of course in the library we have printing facilities, computers, various software, scanners, really nice scanners that can do A3 and more. And if you want to learn more about those, on the website we have, under using the library, all the information about our rooms, the academic commons, printing, photocopying, computers, etc., etc., etc. So much to learn about there. Wish we had more time. But what we do have time to do is introduce you to interesting and potentially rewarding ways to learn about the library, including our mystery challenge. So this is basically a treasure hunt. It does require you to come physically to the library and follow the clues to find a missing student. And if you can follow all the clues through all the library, you will win a very exclusive library canvas bag. Is that a guaranteed prize, Maggie? Does everyone who completes it get a canvas bag?
Yeah, while stocks last.
While stocks last,
Yeah.
but we should have enough for everyone. And for 15 lucky people, via lucky draw, we will also choose 15 people to win a $100 coffee card. Because believe you me, as a university student, you will need to start drinking coffee if you don't already do so. Just kidding. It's probably not a good habit to get into. Apart from that, we have, what's the next one? Oh, Instagram. This is an old screenshot. We have more than 900 followers now. We're much more popular than that. So follow us on Instagram. I'll give you 30 seconds to do that. No, just kidding. Please consider it. And also Facebook. I know, very old school. Who's on Facebook anymore? Just me and my grandmother. But we do have a Facebook page. And also on our social media, I think the video tours are going to be going up soon. Is that right, Maggie? The video tour. Yeah. Yeah. So this year, because of the pandemic, we can't really do a lot of live library tours. But we have the next best thing. We have recorded tours, and we have 3 flavors. We have the English tour, the Cantonese tour and the Putonghua tour. So you can take your pick. And in those video tours, they're about 20 minutes long. You'll get a more detailed overview of the library's facilities. Now, speaking to some more UOW3 matters. So again, if you are here and you have completed the attendance, and again, we'll encourage you to do the attendance again, you have completed the requirement for UOW3, so don't worry about it. But you will still be enrolled in this course. We will put the recording of this session onto the Moodle course for your review, and there'll be more information there too about scholarly sources, citation, which we haven't covered today, but in your essays and assignments, you're going to be expected to cite your sources in the proper academic manner. So we've got some information about how to do that there. If you have any friends who have missed this session, they don't need to worry. Reassure them. They will be able to do a makeup quiz on this same site. And in fact, you can access the quiz too, but because you have attended today, you don't have to do the quiz unless you want to, because it's kind of a fun quiz to do. See if you can get a perfect score. Okay, so we're kind of wrapping up. Oh, but as I warned you, there is an actual quiz competition. So let's see how closely you were paying attention by doing a fantabulous Mentimeter quiz. So I'm going back to Mentimeter. You may have lost your browser because I know it's a long time. Seems like a long time since we did the, oh no, you're all there, great. But I will throw up the QR code again and just let you get into the quiz. I love doing quizzes. There is no prize, but sorry, there's no prize for the online quiz. We still haven't figured out a way to do prize giving online. Let me make sure this quiz is working. So with the quiz competition, you can choose your own, oh, you can't see, oh, you can't see that. You can choose your name, but you can't choose your avatar. You don't need to put your real name here. This quiz is just for fun, so it's not marked or anything. So you can use your real name or you can use a fake name. Nothing rude though, please. If you choose a swear word, I will kick you out. I have the power to do that. Let's see how many people do. Wow, 195. This is one of the biggest quizzes I've ever done. So 200, wow, nice round number. If you've done a quiz like this before, it's similar to Kahoot or something. So there are multiple choice questions, multiple choice, but we're gonna get a winner, hopefully, because you will get more points the quicker you answer the question. So we've got over 208 people in. Here we go, get ready to answer the first question. Here it is. Which statement about librarians is false? You have 30 seconds. Wow, there's some very fast answers there. Maybe we shouldn't have put that first option first. We should have put it third or something, because they're smart kids. They're just reading the first response and saying that's not true. And they're answering very quickly, which is good. I mean, they have to be smart. That's how they got into HKBU. 3 seconds. The correct answer, of course, wow. I was expecting 100%. Some people believe we have magic powers, which is not true. But yes, we do not have magic powers yet. That's the correct answer. 170 of you got that right. Let's see who got it the quickest. It looks like Wilson, only just ahead of, that's an interesting name. Joanna Lee, third, well done. So pretty tight at the top of the leaderboard. Let's do a few more questions. In fact, I think we have 4 more questions. Here is question 2. Get a bit more tricky now. Where can you find the course readings? Super important for year 1 students. Where do we keep them? This one they won't get 100%. I'm pretty sure. Answers are coming in slower. They're thinking. Now, of course, if you don't remember, you can just guess. You got a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right. excuse me, 5 seconds. Your time is up. The correct answer, of course, well, pretty good. It was the most popular answer. Yes, the user services counter. So this is, the course readings are a bit different from all of our other books. For other books, you just go to the shelf yourself and get them. But if you find something that your professor has reserved in the course readings, you go directly to the user services counter, as you saw in the video, and ask the staff on duty, I need this book. Can you show them the call number of the book, and they'll go get it for you. Great. We'll check on the leaderboard later. Let's go directly to question 3. Let's see how many get this one right. Which of the following introduces information sources for specific subjects? I think this question is too easy. The way that we phrased it. We'll think about that next time. It's no harm giving away points. We'll see how quick they are. The correct answer, of course, is the library subject guides. Most of you got that one right. Great. So again, a reminder of what those are, like the visual arts subject guide. It introduces you to the library resources that are very, very good for that particular subject. And that's a lot easier than trying to find it yourself on the library homepage. Let librarians guide you to the correct answer. Great. Question the 4th. Another one of these style questions. Which statement about the library's resources is false? Now, I do apologize. There's a slight typo in the 3rd one there. That should have said more ebooks than physical books, but it didn't fool many of you. Yeah, the false statement. Wow, this is very impressive performance, actually. Well done. Yeah, the false statement there is that you can only borrow books owned by HKBU Library, because remember, you can, using Hong Kong All, borrow books from all of the other 7 UGC-funded university libraries. Well done. We're clearly paying attention. Before we go on, oh no, we're going directly into the last question. Let's see. Cameron, was this a difficult question or not? Oh, this one's tricky. Which of the following are options, or which of the following are options to get to know the library better? Now, this is a question where you will benefit from reading all of the options before answering. I don't know, as a student, I didn't really like this form of question. I felt it was too tricky. Time is up. The answer, of course, all of these options, well, most of you got them. Well done. You're clearly very bright young minds here. So yes, all of those options are correct. Complete the library mystery challenge. Attend our tour via Facebook Live. Actually, that also needs to be revised. We're not actually going to do Facebook Live tours anymore, but the recorded tour is available, will be available, and also follow us on Instagram. Let's see the final leaderboard. Wow, was doing really well there, but did they win? Well, they were fastest. Oh, well done. You're making me say like a crazy person, so that's your reward. Good job. But Malak did well. Emily, Coco, I want to read out everyone on the leaderboard. Howard Wong, good job. Lola, S, it's a good name. It's a good name. Joe Biden, I don't believe that's your real name. Joe Biden. And also Agent X9. Good job, everyone who participated. Excellent. So I think everyone's gotten the basics about the library now. We've done the quiz. Congratulations to the winners, including and Joe Biden, apparently. But let's wrap things up. So to conclude this afternoon, we've talked about how that's probably the main message I wanted to get across to all of you, which is a big difference to maybe what you experienced in secondary school, is that librarians at university libraries were professionals, were trained, and it's our job to help you. So don't hesitate, come to the desk, email us, Facebook Messenger us, WhatsApp us when you have questions or need help using or finding information. And second key point, the library is going to be a hub for you in your success, in your university life. You'll need our resources to do the type of work your professors expect, right? Because if you hand in an essay or whatever project and your professor sees a bunch of Google links, yeah, it's not gonna fly. You need to be giving them citations to books, journal articles. That's what they expect from university level work. So again, the library has the e-resources, has the learning support to cater for your needs. So we definitely will see you around. Wow, I love our library mascot there. All of our social media is there too. So again, this recording, this presentation will be made available on the UOW3 Moodle site, and you will get an announcement from me when that is ready to access. Before we do that, Maggie, can you post the attendance bit again in the chat? I know people will worry about the attendance. Well, thank you, Heal1. Someone says it's a fun session. We appreciate that. So for the attendance again, in case you missed it, you can use the link that Maggie has just put in the chat. It might be a bit slow. I think it's faster now that everyone has had a try logging in. And again, you can just log in. Can't remember my password. Oh, there we go. And you don't have to put a title, just leave it blank. We might have confused people by requesting a title. Just leave it blank, just click submit, and your attendance will be recorded. If you're not able to do it right now, I think the system is fine now. You should be able to do it now. But if it doesn't work for whatever reason, just do it anytime today. It'll be fine. If for whatever reason you can't do it today, send us an email and we can sort that out for you. Now, the last thing I need you to do is so many QR codes. Welcome to 2021. We need your feedback. So this is not attendance, this is anonymous. So be honest in your feedback. But every year we try to make the session better. Now, Hugh1 said it was a fun session. That's great feedback. And the reason why you found it fun is because we've been getting feedback every year to try and make the session better and better for the new undergraduates. So there's a link there that Maggie has just popped into the chat too. I'm going to click on it. That's what it looks like. So you can just fill that form in. So if you hated it, go that side. If you loved it, go that side. And there are 4 different questions, and there's some spaces that we do want your qualitative feedback. It can just be a few words. What's the most useful thing? What things not so clear? And if you have, this is optional, do you have any comments or suggestions for us? So just please take the rest of the session, the 5 minutes or so we have left, to fill out that form. And if you have any questions now, you can pop them into the Q&A box. Oh, we have one new question. This is a good question from Maya Lin. You've missed UOW1 and UOW2. How can I get a recording of them? I'm afraid those 2 sessions are not held by the library. They're held by the Office of Student Affairs and also the Center for Holistic Teaching and Learning. So I'm actually not sure. But if you miss any UOW session, don't worry. There will be makeup arrangements. So you will probably be contacted soon by the colleagues who are responsible for that. So I'm sorry, I don't know the actual answer, but don't worry about it. They'll be in touch with you soon. But thanks for the question. So we'll give you just a couple minutes to fill in that form. Oh, you're welcome, Maya, no problem. All right, we're coming up to the end of our session. Don't worry if you've not quite finished the feedback form, you can take your time. It will not disappear. So if you have, pages and pages of feedback, we welcome that. Of course, you don't have to do that. So just submit it when you're ready. But I'll go ahead and close the session now and just finish off by saying, again, welcome to HKBU on behalf of the University Library. It's a real it's always exciting for me to welcome the new students. I've been doing this for X number of years, let's say 10 plus years. And it's always my favorite time of year to welcome the new students to HKBU. And we're so happy this semester too, that it looks like, well, I shouldn't jinx it, but fingers crossed, it'll all be face-to-face and we'll see more people in the library. So we're really looking forward to having you all come to the library. And just remember what we said. If you have trouble, if you have questions, come and ask. Your librarians are here to help you. So with that, myself and Maggie will say goodbye. Bye, everybody. Wow, I see all the, people saying it's fun. I'm glad you found it was fun. All right, bye-bye.